Hey everybody, welcome to my daily vlog channel. Today is my first of my 4-day weekend. I think I cut myself like right here shaving, but oh well. How you guys doing today? I'm doing fine and dandy. Just picked up a couple things from Target. Now I'm heading over to my wife's work to have lunch with her. Last night, I usually don't really remember my dreams that much anymore, but last night I had a dream that I was visiting Cuba. Now, those of you who are watching this that don't really know me might think, oh, that's kind of weird. You're dreaming about Cuba. Well, I have a huge fascination with history and history in general. Just like, generalized history. Also, I've always had an interest in Cuba and Cuban history and the history of the country, and I mean going all the way back, like way back. And it really started from when I was younger and I watched The Godfather Part 2 for the first time in elementary school. It was after I saw The Godfather 1 for the first time with my mom, and I saw The Godfather Part 2 for the first time, and I fell in love with the beauty of Cuba. Yes, they filmed The Godfather Part 2 isn't technically, the scenes in Havana technically are not filmed in Havana, but the generalized idea of what it looked like is what I fell in love with. Not really a big fan of the way that the leaders before, I'm not a big fan of like Castro and stuff either in communist Cuba, but I'm not really a big fan of how the leaders of that country ran the country before that. So I've also been always kind of fascinated with the Cuban Revolution around that time period. And so ever since they've been like lifting these sanctions and people from the United States are able to go and visit Cuba, and I think some businesses and commerce type stuff has actually, popped up where you do that, more of that. I know somebody personally that just went and did like a huge photography assignment down in Cuba. I live in Florida, and so Cuba is very close to us. And so ever since, like, the sanctions and everything have been lifted. Oh, let me back up real quick. I also used to always rent books from the library about Cuba, and I've always been like obsessed with like Cuban architecture and the Cuban history of everything. And that's how I am with history. I like certain aspects of different parts of the world, and I like focusing on that, going back hundreds of years. Sorry. Cuba is one of them. And so I've always wanted to go to Cuba. And always wanted to go to Cuba and visit and see the history of the country. I know it's kind of sacrilegious to say this in some circles, but I actually prefer the Dirty Dancing sequel over the original Dirty Dancing because of the Cuban setting. I'm not really the biggest, I grew up with Dirty Dancing. I'm not really the biggest fan of that film either. I think it's, I'm not really a big fan of it. It's not bad, it's just I'm not really a big fan of it. I think everybody involved had done better films before, especially Patrick Swayze. But I like the second one better, mainly for the setting. And so, yeah, I had a dream last night. I was in Cuba visiting, and I remember it was like the time of my life visiting this country. And I remember when I woke up this morning, I remember seeing, standing on top of a building and looking over and seeing the cities and seeing the water, and it blew me away. And so I was like kind of disappointed when I woke up, because I knew it was just in my mind. I knew it wasn't really Cuba. It was just like, oh man, that was just so awesome. I don't know. That's just something I wanted to bring up. I really need to get I have a clip that I use that I put on my steering wheel, and I have the phone on the clip. So if I need to move it really quick, I can, but it's kind of a piece of junk. So that's how I'm able to drive and have my phone record. And it's really jittery and jerky. And whenever I actually use my hand on the steering wheel, like this part on my steering wheel, to kind of maneuver the phone up and back and forth if I need to. So, yeah. And plus, I never really move this arm from like my steering wheel anyways. It's like my arm that I use to drive the most. My other one's on it now. So anyways, guys, heading to get lunch. Thank you for listening to my little Cuban dream. I have a feeling this may be back to the olden days of this vlog channel today. I have a feeling this is going to be a longer vlog. I don't know. Who knows? Let's see. So, heading to my wife's work first, and then I'm going to go pick up some lunch. I got to drop something off that I grabbed from Target that I don't want to let sit in my car when I go pick up lunch. So, anyways, see you guys. America. I was in the mood today, just after lunch and everything, and going to the store, and before tonight, hanging out with my buddy Toby, decided to watch a Steven Spielberg epic. War Horse, in my opinion, is incredibly underrated from Spielberg.